When Toy Story 3 was coming out, I was very skeptical. I'm a huge fan of the first movie. I'm a huge fan of the second movie. And at the time was like, it's been over a decade. Do we really need another one? Like, if it's good, it's good, and I hope it is. But do we need another one? Like, it's been so long. What if they just don't have the magic this time? And then I watched the film and thought to myself, oh, this might be the best one. This is arguably my favorite movie of all time. And several years pass. And Toy Story 4 is coming out. And I think to myself, I mean, I know the last one was good. And there was a really long time in between movies. But it was so good. And such a perfect ending. We don't need another one. And as much as I love these films, and they're possibly my favorite trilogy of all time, I don't want another one because it ended so well, and was very skeptical about the movie. And then I watched it, and I loved it. And I will say, over the years, I can safely say that, yeah, I don't love Toy Story 4 as much as 1, 2, and 3, but I do still love it. And I think, how do I want to say this? It feels less of an ensemble film the way that 2 and 3 particularly do. It is the Woody movie, for better or for worse. And in some areas, yeah, I think it is a little for worse, because I'm like, I still want to see, like, Potato Head, Rex, Ham, and Slinky and them, like, do stuff, and they really don't. But I really like this movie for what it does for Woody's character. So Toy Story 5 is out, and over the past, like, month or so, something I have said to Clay several times is, dude, there's a Toy Story movie coming out in about a month, and I don't care. I don't feel excited. I don't even feel that nervous. And I think part of it is just all of the noise, and I just keep hearing, not that I had heard any reviews, I specifically didn't look at any reviews, but I've heard people just lambast 4 over the years. And as someone who really likes it, I'm just like, look, man, it's whatever, I guess. I think I'm the only person who likes this movie. But I'm not chomping at the bit for another one, you know? And the trailers aren't super exciting me. Like, I think the idea of toys going against technology and, you know, competing for a child's attention, I think there is something interesting that can be done here. And, like, conceptually, yeah, the idea of Toy Story handling this I think is interesting, and I think it's fun. But I don't want this to just be an old man yells at clouds, you know, technology bad, don't give kids screen, blah, 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 and that might just end up being the movie. And I feel like the first 4 movies are more nuanced than that, so this should be, but there's a non-zero chance that this just exists to sell tickets. And I don't want to see Toy Story become that. But these movies haven't steered me wrong yet, and every single time a new one comes out, at least since 2. So, like, with 3, 4, and 5, I get, like, after 2 is what I mean. I thought to myself, is this the one where they fuck it up? And with 3, that was not the case. And with 4, that was not the case. And yesterday, I watched Toy Story 5, and yeah, it wasn't the case there either. This movie's fantastic. And I'm almost mad that I love the movie, because I'm like, they did it again. They keep proving me wrong and proving that I can trust them. And every single time I'm like, but is this the time? Is this the time where I'm gonna watch the movie and think this was bad, or this was totally superfluous? And every time I'm like, no, I'm glad this movie exists. Not just because, like, ooh, I like seeing Woody and Buzz do things. I'm like, no, this movie feels important. And Toy Story 5 is just the same. I'll try to go as non-spoilery as possible, but there will be times where I dip into some spoilers. The movie starts on an on like a desert island with a whole like shipment of Buzz Lightyears who are fresh out of the box and trying to find out like their purpose and like why they're here and where they have to go. And if there's one thing I will criticize Toy Story 4 over, to me it is the only film in the series to not have a fresh out of the box Buzz Lightyear. Because in the first movie, it's Buzz. In the second movie, it's new Buzz. In the third movie, Buzz gets rebooted and then gets a Spanish mode. The closest that Toy Story 4 does to that is Buzz just saying, well, let me follow my inner voice, which isn't, like, resetting his character necessarily. And then in this one, it's like, no, there's a whole shipment of Buzzes that are straight out of the box. And it's always one of my favorite bits of a Toy Story movie, because number one, fresh out of the box Buzz is such a fun character, but also, yeah, how are they gonna do it this time? And it's similar to what happens in Toy Story 2, but to like a much grander, more absurd scale. And then seeing these Buzzes all like look at a star and go, Star Command, Star Command, rendezvous with Star Command, and they just like build a raft to get off the island. Like, you know, there is the part of me watching this movie going, did a bunch of toys pull that off? And also me thinking, yeah, I've seen these movies, of course they did. You can never count out the ingenuity of a toy, especially one as deranged as a fresh out of the box Buzz Lightyear. Okay, and every now and then the movie will just come back to the Buzz army doing whatever they're doing. Like, there's a bit where they're in the woods and they see a deer for the first time and it starts playing a song from Bambi. It's really funny. It's so absurd, and I didn't know they were in the movie. I don't know if they were in any of the trailers or the marketing, but I don't think they were in anything that I saw. So I had no idea what they were supposed to be up to. And by the end of the movie, like, I think I like them fine. I guess it's more of a, like, I enjoyed them in a vacuum. What they lead up to is, it's okay. It's fine. It's solid. There are some, like, really fun moments with them, though. This is a scene that does happen later on in the movie, so there's a bit of a spoiler here. But there is a scene where Buzz is riding a horse toy. Like, not Bullseye. He's riding this pony with, like, these big wings, which I guess would make it a Pegasus, because I didn't see a horn, so it's not technically an alicorn. But, like, this pony toy with these big, over-the-top wings. I'm like, okay, just number one, this is a funny image. Like, this is great. I love this. But I was thinking to myself, like, the moment I realized, like, kind of what we're about to do here, I was like, there's a reality out there where that was Twilight Sparkle. Where they actually made a deal with Hasbro to get the main six. Maybe not like all My Little Pony. It's like, you know, you've got some like different kinds of horses, but you just have the main six. And then like Tara Strong says one line and I lose my damn mind in the middle of this theater. Because something you have to remember, and it's very important. Kingdom Hearts is canon to Toy Story. They have explicitly said, like, you know, like, we worked with the team from Toy Story, not only to make sure, you know, we kind of got the vibe right, but so, like, this is a thing that canonically happens in the Toy Story universe, which means if friendship is magic, if the main six were in Toy Story 5, then Friendship is Magic would be canon to Kingdom Hearts. And Like, I'm sorry. I know I'm going on a tangent right now. I would love Equestria Kingdom Hearts. I know that will never happen because it's not Disney. Like, it's just not a thing that would occur. But I'm like, man, in my own, like, personal, like, I can pick anything to be in Kingdom Hearts, this would be on there. And I almost got something close. It was that close, but not quite. But alas, Buzz riding on, like, this giant Pegasus is still really, really funny. Before this movie started, like, there were a lot of ads. And one of the ads was for... Oh, sorry, I just got a notification from something, which surprised me, because I normally, when I try to record, I put my phone on airplane mode so I don't get notifications while I'm recording. Oops, I completely forgot. I'll probably mess with some of that later. Anyways, there was an ad for the new Minions movie. And during this ad, there is a scene where a Cyclops sits down on a stack of Lego bricks, or like something adjacent to Legos, with the implication being that A, you know, it just like hits his butt really hard, or two, what I think actually happened is they go straight up his butt. And I'm watching this thinking, this is exactly what I expect from a Minions movie and a Minions trailer. And I just have no intention of watching this. So if it's, like, look, if it's great, it's great. And I don't want to rag on anybody who enjoys those movies. I haven't really watched them. But from what the little bit I know and that I've seen, I don't think I'd really get into it, but who knows. But then in here, Conan O'Brien, and I didn't realize it was Conan while watching the movie. I'm like, this voice sounds familiar. And then afterwards I learned it was Conan. I'm like, oh yeah, I can believe that. He plays a robot named Mr. Smarty Pants, who he's a device that's supposed to help potty train kids. So a lot of his humor is about peeing and pooping. And, like, I watched the Minions thing where a Cyclops gets, like, shoves a bunch of Legos up his ass. And I'm watching this going, what are we doing here? And I'm watching Conan making jokes about passing gas in a Toy Story movie. And I'm just kind of grinning the whole time. As I don't know if it was the writing, I don't know if it was the delivery, or if it was both. Where I'm like, I don't feel like this should work, but it's working for me. Like, there's some, like, genuine, like, charisma and charm to this. Even, like, this joke is stupid and I should hate it. I just can't. I can't hate this movie. If Toy Story 4 is Woody the movie, Toy Story 5 is Jessie the movie. And one thing I had said, I think on Thursday, I was like, man, I don't know what you're supposed to do with Woody's arc going into this next movie. I think after Toy Story 4, I had said, look, I guess Toy Story 5 is he's going to find Andy again, which, like, that doesn't happen. Andy has nothing to do with this movie. And that's not a bad thing. But, like, I don't know what you do with Woody. And the answer is, well, you don't. You just focus on someone else. And honestly, I think that's a really good idea. Something I learned after the fact is apparently one of the early drafts of the film didn't have Woody in it. And I think Andrew Benson is the name of the writer. And he had said, he's like, look, I fully intend for Woody to be in this movie. I don't know how I'm going to write him in yet, and I know there's going to be several drafts. So tell you what, I'm going to write a draft of the movie that just doesn't have him to see how it feels. Like, do I miss Woody? Do I feel like it's weird not having him here? And I wrote the draft of the movie, and yeah, it felt weird. I missed him. I wanted him to be in here, and he's here in a way they think works. And having seen the film, I can say, number one, yes, I think he's here in a way that works. I think it is still respectful to the ending of Toy Story 4 and the decisions that Woody made in Toy Story 4, which was something I felt very hesitant about seeing Woody hear the trailer for Toy Story 5. But also, I can tell there was a draft of this movie without Woody in it, because he really didn't need to be. And I'm not saying I wish he wasn't. I feel like those are two very important distinctions. Woody is one of my favorite characters in anything. I would have felt really weird and kind of gypped seeing a Toy Story movie that doesn't have Woody and Buzz. But he doesn't do a whole lot, and he doesn't really add a whole lot. It's mostly just, like, there's a bunch of jokes essentially calling Woody an unk without actually calling him that. You know, there's, like, the bald spot you see in the trailer. There's a lot of jokes about that. There's just jokes about him being old and an antique. He's, like, wearing a poncho, and they kind of make fun of him for that. It's like, Woody is not here because he's continuing his arc. Woody is here because of posterity's sake, and just kind of making a few jokes about it. And I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. But I mean, it's just good to see him and Buzz just, like, talking and messing with each other and kind of fighting. And not like we've reverted back to Toy Story 1, they now hate each other. It's just, the two of them are kind of arguing about stuff, and it's great. I think it's Potato Head who even says, like, man, it's great to see those two fighting again. Speaking of which, yeah, the rest of the crew really aren't in this movie either. They're there. I could probably count on, like, all 10 fingers the amount of lines everyone else has. Like, I genuinely don't think I heard Mrs. Potato Head say a single line of dialogue. I think Mr. Potato Head maybe had 2. I think Ham had 1. I think Slinky had, like, maybe 3 all in one moment. And kind of the same with Rex. Although Rex does have a really funny line. He's like, isn't someone gonna solve my murder? It makes sense in context. Like, a very early scene in the movie. But this is the second film... This is the second film in a row that is really focused on one particular character, and kind of B, at the expense of the group. And on the one hand, I hate that because I love the group. But on the other hand, I really like the focus that Woody got in 4 and that Jesse got in 5. There's also a decent amount of focus that Buzz gets, and not just with, like, the Buzz horde, like our specific Lightyear. And I think it's fine. It's not my favorite Buzz plotline. I think it's solid. Mostly it's about him wanting to continue his relationship with Jesse, and, like, I want to propose. This is just a really hard thing for me to do and, like, work up the courage for because I feel super awkward. And it reminds me a lot of Frozen 2. And if you know how I feel about Frozen 2, that's not a good thing. But I think it works fine here, and I think a lot of it is just, like, I can't ever hate my Buzz Lightyear. Like, I just love this dude. And, like, yeah, I remember at the end of Toy Story 2, where he's just trying to talk to Jesse. He's like, you have a nice, yarn full of hair. I mean, a hair full of yarn, or, like, however he says the line or messes it up. Like, it's very clear, like, he's interested, but he's nervous, and he's trying. And this movie's, like, kind of harkening back to that in a way that I think genuinely works. But his whole thing with Woody, where it's like, well, Jessie made me her deputy. And he's like, yeah, but I mean, I'm the sheriff. I'm also, like, what are we doing here, Buzz? And it was like, yeah, kind of what are we doing here, Buzz? But okay, it's fine, I guess. Let's talk about the tech. Let's talk about the frog. Weirdly enough, this is the second movie in, like, 2 or 3 weeks that had a major character be an animated lady frog. Because I'm thinking of Ribbit from Amazing Digital Circus. Like, it's... what's that thing from, Phineas and Ferb? Like, you know, if I had a nickel for every time this happened, I'd have 2 nickels. It's not much. It's just weird it happened twice. But I how much do I want to say about Lily? Or how much can I say about Lily without going into spoilers? I think what I will say is, one thing I was worried about is that this would be old man yells at cloud regarding technology and kids having technology. And I don't think this movie is that. I think it is a nuanced look at it where it's technology is something that can be just very consuming when it comes to someone's time, when it comes to someone's attention span. And yes, it can be very brainless. It is also a really helpful tool for connection, especially connecting to someone who lives far away. And it provides opportunities and access we would not have without it. But also, there's dangers with that too. And I think there's this really nice balance between technology has its place, and even with kids, it can have its place. But parental controls exist for a reason when it comes to screen time, when it comes to like limiting other things. And parents should make sure that their child is safe while using technology. I think that's really what I could say without going like far into spoilers with it. So I was just like looking at my notes, like, what do I want to say? Okay, there's a pig in this movie named Jimmy Dean, and I laughed like so hard at that name. Like that is really funny, and that's kind of really mean. Like you either love that pig or you are telling that pig your days are numbered. It is the equivalent of the Chris P. Bacon pig. I thought that was great. Let's see. Sorry, again, just checking my notes. Buzz Army, Jesse the movie, talking about the ensemble, screen time, blah, 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 blah. Twilight Sparkle. Okay, so I think a couple things I can say without like getting into spoilers. Number one, there are scenes in this movie where someone is playing with a toy, like when Bonnie is doing it, or they introduce a new kid named Blaze, like when she does it, and they just change the animation style a bit to kind of reflect that this is something going on in the kid's imagination, and they're just so fun. Like they're really fun. They're super charming. It reminds me a lot of the opening scene to Toy Story 3, except that's in like the same art style as the rest of the movie. I really liked it. Again, that's where Rex is like, who's gonna solve my murder? 10 out of 10, no notes. The other thing is, it kind of harkens back to what I was saying earlier, how, or at least what I've been kind of trying to say, 1, 2, and 3 do feel like a trilogy. 4 and 5... Sorry, let me try to rephrase this, because this all still feels like one continuity. 5 feels a lot closer to 4 rather than 1, 2, or 3 in some of just the decisions made. And again, I think a lot of that is focusing on like really one character at kind of the expense of the ensemble. And it's something that really made me think, if there was a version of this movie that didn't have Woody, and I can tell by watching the movie because he's not the focus, like kind of at all, what does it mean to be a Toy Story movie if it's not about Woody's arc? I thought about that for a bit while taking a walk last night. And to me, what Toy Story is, it is a series about examining rejection through a lens that pretty much any human being can relate to. Because I feel like most human beings at some point in their life have had a possession, have had something that they valued, and then found a new shiny thing and thought, ooh, now I really want this. This is something I want to own. This is something I want to play with. Kind of at the expense of the first thing, which is kind of the story of the first movie, is Woody feeling like he's being replaced by Buzz. And I think there's a lot of different ways you could read that. You know, like you could read it as an only child getting a new sibling that is getting all the attention, and now they feel like they're on the back burner. Even though, as Bo Peep says to Woody, it's like, you know, he'll always have a place for you. It's not that Andy's replacing you. It's not like he doesn't love you. But there is a new thing, and he's interested in the new thing, but you still matter. And then Potato Head's like, yeah, like the attic. Like, gosh, I love Mr. Potato Head. But, Like, I could see that. I could also see it as, like you have a best friend, you have someone you're really close to, but then they get a new friend or someone else joins the group, and now you start meow. And that was weird. But now you start to feel that, again, like maybe you're getting replaced or you're getting shunned, and kind of having to learn to deal with that. I could also just see it as a metaphor for a breakup, and now your ex is with someone else, and you kind of have to see them around all the time, and you just have to deal with your feelings of rejection and being replaced. I think that's super interesting. And then you get to Toy Story 2, which is... Okay, how does that one really work? Well, no, because you have Jessie, because Jessie's whole thing is, I was really close with someone, I was super close with Emily, but then we grew apart, or more that she grew apart from me. And this does feel like being broken up with. This feels like being left behind, and I don't know what I did wrong. I just know I really cared about someone, and they left me. I'm going to skip to Toy Story 4, because Toy Story 4, I think, handles it in a really interesting way, too. Number one, to me, it's Woody really finding himself after investing so much time in another person. And again, like when I saw the movie, I thought of it as, this is a parent whose kid has gone to college and has grown up and is now living their life. Now being like, cool, now I kind of have to get back to my life. What am I doing? You could see it as someone retiring, and now that they don't have work, and kind of trying to fill that void in their life. And then I look at Gabby, and Gabby's thing is like, you see that person over there? I really want that one. I really want to be in a relationship with that person. And I feel like if I can just have this one thing about me that's changed or that's better, I know that person would want me and that person would love me. And it doesn't work. But being open to a new chance and to a new opportunity is what leads to her, being accepted and finding happiness. So that's what a Toy Story movie to me is. I kind of skipped over 3. And then 3 is, it is about growing up. It is about, leaving your past behind you. And, the toys being left behind and how they feel about that, except for Woody. But then Woody makes that impulsive decision of, I'm going to choose them over Andy. And 4 is all about him regretting that. I'm like, okay. But this is a story about rejection and dealing with that and internalizing that. And if that's the case, boy, is Toy Story 5 a fucking Toy Story movie. Because, like I said, it's the Jessie movie. And as we've seen in Toy Story 2, there's a lot of baggage. And this is a movie that is really about unpacking, addressing, and internalizing that baggage. When I watched Toy Story 4 for the first time, I cried thrice. I cried at the very first scene of the movie with Woody and Bo Peep. I cried right after during the You Got a Friend in Me montage, and I cried at the end, not at the Infinity and Beyond part, although the second time I saw the movie, that's the part that made me cry. The first time, it was that scene where Gabby gets adopted by a kid. Absolutely broke me. So does Toy Story 5 make me cry? Yes. How many times? Also thrice. It was, without going into spoilers, there is a scene with Bonnie and her mom in their car, like right outside an ice cream shop. There is the scene with Jessie on the hill. And, like, the last shot of the movie. All 3 of those got me. They really got the waterworks flowing. And when I got to that first one, because I was enjoying the movie. I was genuinely really enjoying the movie. And when I got to that first one, I was like, okay, there it is. There it is. Like, you've earned your stripes. Toy Story 5, you did it, you son of a bitch. I loved it. I really did. I don't have a ranking of these movies. You can't make me choose between them, although I think I can say I think Toy Story 4 is probably my least favorite. But between 1, 2, and 3, I'm like, I don't know. I think it just depends on how I feel in that particular moment. Because I could have a day where I'm like, look, it's 3-1-2, or like, look, it's 3-2-1, or it's 1-2-3, it's 2-1-3, it's 2-3-1. They are all like 3, even 12 out of 10 movies to me. And then Toy Story 4 is really good. And Toy Story 5, I think, is kind of on that similar level. Like, it's maybe above Toy Story 4. It's maybe just the same, maybe slightly below. I'm not sure yet. I've only just seen it. We'll kind of see once it internalizes, and if I watch it, at some point I'll definitely watch it again, and how I feel a second time through. But I really love this movie. I don't even think I'm gonna do a spoiler part. I think if you see the movie, you know the moments I'm talking about, because I described them, the ones where I cried, and I don't think there's really anything else I have to say. Movie's great. Go see it.